Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Birdcatcher and this is Bastion. Now, I have to apologize for cutting off the last video a little early. There were some frame rate issues that I didn't anticipate coming up in the footage, so I had to cut it off before we got into where it got really laggy. But here we are again, and now we're going to talk about the last of the Windbag family, the Scumbag. Now, the Scumbag is really big, as you can see, and the older it gets, the bigger it gets. And this one is called Gershel, and it is the oldest Scumbag that lives in the city in Ceylondia. Scumbags are generally garbage disposals, more or less. They eat all the trash of the city, and as a result, they smell bad. I think in the game, they say that the Scumbag smelled like barley and blueberries, so I like to think that they probably smelled like a really skunky beer. Alright, let's get out of here. Well, now we have our second core, but before we pop it in, I'm gonna go ahead and talk to Rux and show him the Ragged Hood. The Ragged Hood gives us a little baby squirt. And throughout the game, you acquire lots of little animals like this, little familiar friends, and they have a very specific purpose that really comes into play about 2/3 of the way through the game. It's pretty dramatic. Now, I like to get the forge and the armory first and put off the distillery. The reason being, I find that the distillery requires a lot of levels before it starts to pay off. The distillery, in case you don't know, is the thing that gives you all the passive bonuses in the game. I also like to pick up Mirror Shield because I like countering more than I like being too aggressive in this game. A lot of the other abilities, I just never have seen much of a use in them. I don't know. There's some really good ones, but early on, I think that Mirror Shield is probably your best bet. It's at least the one that I like the most in my supremely expert level play. So we're gonna go to the Sundown Path first. It's a lovely place for a stroll, before the calamity, that is. This level is very similar to the end of the first level, in that the floor falls out as you work your way through it. Also quite similar to the end of the first level, if you just roll your way through it, it's pretty easy. I feel like with these levels, they were trying to make it so you didn't have to roll your way through it. I guess maybe they designed it for people who didn't know that they could just dash their way through. I don't know, it's kind of strange that rolling just makes it so easy. This level is great early on for picking up a lot of shards, and I'm going to definitely be putting those into use very shortly, since we now have the forge available at the Bastion. Before this time, I didn't have a whole lot of shards, so I wasn't able to get a whole lot of upgrades, but we'll go back there and we'll figure it out. So, you can just dash past all these turrets, you really don't need to fight them, and it generally makes your life a whole lot easier to just avoid them. You know, you don't need to really slow down to fight things. I mean, it does cut into your experience growth a little bit, but... And now I'm in some trouble, aren't I? Okay, so this is something that I guess can happen where you just have to take falling down. Oh, that was really cheap. Okay, I don't know how to get through here. Oh, I guess there is one turret that you absolutely have to fight, and we found out who that was. So let's just keep going, and here we are on the first safe point in this little level. It's worth mentioning that by this point in the soundtrack, we have heard a lot of very interesting musical ideas. We've heard tabla drumming against a violin, and it ends with a cool little synthesizer riff. So if you want to go back and listen to the soundtrack, I highly encourage it. There's a lot of really neat eclectical ideas going on in this moment of the game. So here, the music changes because we have a new game mechanic coming into play. We have these little sky bridges. Also, don't take the path I just took. We have these little sky bridges, and now this section of the game focuses pretty much on learning how these sky bridges work mechanically. It's a little difficult to explain unless you've played for yourself, but you have to press E, and then you have to hold the direction you want to move, and you also have to press space to recover from the motion of it. So the whole reason that the soundtrack changed is because they're obviously trying to theme things. So the beginning of this level was all about the falling down platforms, And now they're adding in a new mechanic that you have to focus on. Notice that most of the time the platforms are not falling because they just want to make it so that you're not getting too many ideas thrown at you at once. And then later on, they're going to combine both of the ideas, so you have to really have quickly mastered how to move and how to use the sky bridges. But first, yet another mechanic, the hand grenade. It's a special attack that launches a hand grenade. Pretty straightforward, uses a black tonic every time you use it, and you can use it to take out clusters of enemies over walls, and this whole area is designed to teach you that. This section coming up is basically the final test of how to use the hand grenades. You have to recognize, first off, that those boxes are threats, and if you haven't figured that out by now, this is the section that will teach you, and you have to learn quickly enough to, oh, I should use my hand grenade here. But first, we're going to go over and pick up our something burnt, which we're not going to get that weapon for a very long time, but we might as well actually have an upgrade for it, because you can't come back here if you leave. Autosaves, and the dangers therein. And now, foreshadowing. Who else could have survived the calamity? So here's something I really like about this game. It's kind of realistic in that you don't always win. So we went through that whole mission on this search to find a core, but we couldn't find one because one of the scumbags ate it. I don't know, I think that's just a great narrative touch. So many video games are afraid to let the players fail, but this one, sometimes you don't always win. I still don't think I have a whole lot of shards to upgrade anything, so let's just pop over to the arsenal, get our mirror shield back, and head out, and hopefully pick up some more shards so that we can upgrade things. Eventually, we'll get a really nice way to grind up a lot of the shards, and I'll take care of that off-screen mostly. But first, we're going to go to Trapper Shingle. This is the repeater proving grounds, and this one is a little bit tricky. I hope you haven't gotten too sick and tired of platforms falling out from underneath you, because that is the name of the game here. What we have to do is we pick up this little repeater, we dash ahead, and we shoot down the little targets. I'm a little bit rusty, so I hope I can get this in one try. We'll find out. If I remember correctly, a lot of the strategy here is making sure that you have timed your reloads and your repositions very well. So when you're reloading, you want to be moving forward because you can only shoot while standing still. So I should move forward here, take these guys out, and I'm reloading, so we'll move ahead. Another thing that you need to do is when you get to the end of the platforms, just shoot ahead, take out as many of the targets as you can, because the platforms don't start to fall until you cross the little threshold. Yes, we have a full clip. Now let's move ahead. Reloaded, move ahead, reloaded, move ahead. That is the name of the game here. Uh-oh, oh geez, I better keep moving. And as you can tell, the ground changes colors based on how quickly the platforms are going to fall from underneath you. And here we are in the orange and red, and they fall really fast. Oh, geez. Okay, I'm not going to fall. Nope. Oh, there we are. Oh, well. Second place on my first try is usually what you get for the first time you do these things. And let's just give it another go, how about? Well, I went ahead and went back to the Bastion and bought the ammo clip upgrade because, and this is a really neat little fact, the upgrades that you buy for your weapons actually carry over into the proving grounds. So that makes it a lot easier. I went ahead and doubled the ammo clip so I would be able to shoot for longer without having to worry about repositioning. The other option was to increase the reload speed, which is also a pretty viable alternative. But I'm going to go ahead and use the ammo clip upgrade this time around, and if I failed a lot, then I might as well switch to the other one and see if I have any better luck. But so far I'm getting a lot of dead run crits, which is making this a lot easier. Okay, one last little leg, and it seems to me that I probably will be able to get the first place prize this time around, which is a special attack for the Fang Repeater. What it is, I don't know yet, and that is victory right there. I sure am a master trapper. And I think we got Snooze Dart. Yes, this is a decent enough upgrade. Not one I use too often, but alright. Well, I think that just about wraps things up for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something.